Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking some truly fascinating, high-stakes geopolitical drama. We're looking at a classic source text that is literally a masterclass in strategy, leadership, and honestly, the incredibly heavy burden of power. What we've got here is a tense, high-level debate between three legendary figures, Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Krishna. They're arguing over whether to launch a massive war or try to hold on to a really fragile peace. The stakes? They absolutely could not be higher. And as you'll see, these ancient political dilemmas hit incredibly close to home when we look at power dynamics and modern leadership challenges today.
So that brings us to the core puzzle we're decoding today. I want you to really think about this. What does it truly take to conquer the world and achieve what our text calls imperial dignity? Is it just brute force? Is it economic prosperity? Or, is it something else entirely? We're going to see exactly how our ancient sources answer this ultimate question of leadership and how they navigate a scenario where getting to the very top means confronting just unimaginable danger. Section 1. The Quest for Empire. Let's look at Yudhishthira's dilemma.
So, we meet Yudhishthira. He desperately wants that ultimate title of emperor, but he knows it's a ridiculously hard status to pull off. Right now, he's totally paralyzed by doubt. He's playing the role of the hesitant idealist. He literally says, "I regard peace of mind as the highest object here, for from that quality may proceed my prosperity." Basically, he's terrified that jumping into a brutal, unpredictable conflict is just going to destroy his ultimate goal of peace. He's second-guessing everything, worrying that even if he tries, he won't win because the enemy is just so mighty and wicked. It's a classic trap, right? Doubting if victory is even possible because the obstacle in front of you looks way too big.
Well, Krishna hears this hesitation and hits him back with some hard historical data. He goes through this list of past leaders who actually achieved imperial dignity, proving there isn't just one single path to the top. Look at this breakdown. Yavanaswan, he did it purely through economic policy, by abolishing all taxes. Bhagirath got there just by treating his subjects with incredible kindness. Kartavirya leaned on the energy of his asceticism. Bharata used sheer strength and valor. And Maratha, he just built up immense prosperity. Krishna's point is brilliant here. Mastering just one of these monumental traits can elevate a king to an emperor. The timeless takeaway is that playing to your unique strengths is almost always your best strategic move.
And this brilliantly illustrates why Krishna is pushing him so hard. Krishna tells Yudhishthira, look, you don't just have one of these metrics, you have all of them combined. Yudhishthira possesses 5 key qualifications: his track record of victory, the protection he affords his people, his virtue, his prosperity, and his solid policy. Krishna is strategically building up this hesitant idealist, laying out the logic to prove he has the exact, perfect resume required to rule the world.
Which brings us to Section 2, the insurmountable obstacle, Jarasandha's reign.
Because, let's be real, a great resume doesn't mean much when there's a massive roadblock in your way. And Yudhishthira's roadblock is an antagonist who has completely rewritten the geopolitical rules of engagement. Our source text introduces Jarasandha, the king of Magadha. He is the ultimate brutal antagonist here. 100 dynasties have tried to oppose him, and they've all failed. He doesn't just ask for loyalty, he violently demands tribute, attacking kings who already wear crowns. The text points out he's been wicked since childhood, using pure violence to bring nearly 100 kings under his total control. So you can kind of see why Yudhishthira looks at Jarasandha and just sees an invincible tyrant, asking, how can any weak monarch possibly approach him with hostile intentions?
But we can't stop there. Section 3. A formula for victory. Building the coalition. Yudhishthira's fear is incredibly palpable, but the text doesn't let us just sit there in despair. Enter Bhima, the absolute man of action. Bhima represents the pragmatic, martial voice in the room, and he is not about to let Yudhishthira just surrender to fear or sit around. He delivers this hard-hitting argument, saying that king who is without exertion perisheth like an anthill. It's such a striking image. He's telling him that a weak leader can't just sit idly by. You want to survive? Wake up? You have to use active exertion and sharp policy. You can't just cross your fingers and wait for peace, while a tyrant is out there actively conquering the globe. Passivity against aggression is a guaranteed losing strategy.
And Bhima doesn't just complain, he turns this pragmatism into a brilliant three-pronged coalition to take Jarasandha down. Step 1 is Krishna's policy, that's the strategic mind. Step 2 is Bhima's strength, the raw, undeniable physical power. And Step 3 is Arjuna's triumphs, the unmatched martial skill. The text actually compares these 3 distinct powers to the 3 sacrificial fires you need to pull off a sacred ritual. By combining them, this triad forms an absolutely unstoppable force against the king of Magadha. It's the ultimate synthesis of brains and brawn, proving that the right team dynamic can take on even the most impossible odds.
Now things get urgent. Section 4, the ticking clock, a race against time.
So the crucial point is they have to act right now. Krishna suddenly drops this horrifying intelligence report that completely shifts the conversation from a philosophical debate into an immediate life-or-death race against time. 86. Krishna reveals that Jarasandha has already violently captured 86 kings. But he hasn't just taken their lands, he's locked them up in the temple of Shiva to be used as literal human sacrifices. The text really asks us to imagine the poignant misery of these monarchs trapped there, just waiting for their execution.
Let's break down the horrifying math on this. Jarasandha's dark coda for this ritual is exactly 100 kings. Since he already has 86 locked away, he only needs 14 more to complete this atrocity. 14! It is a literal ticking clock. Krishna uses this exact data to light a massive fire under Yudhishthira. He explains that the second Jarasandha gets those last 14 kings, the slaughter begins. But whoever steps up and obstructs this horrific act, they will win blazing renown and become the undisputed emperor of all the Kshatriyas.
Section 5. The final call to action. Confronting evil. This impending sacrifice totally forces Yudhishthira into a corner. He can't hide behind his desire for peace of mind anymore because at this point, inaction isn't peaceful at all. Inaction is complicity in the execution of 100 kings. We're looking at a superstar contrast here. Yudhishthira's initial desire for passive prosperity on one hand, perfectly opposed to Jarasandha's reality of ruthless ambition and human sacrifice on the other. What our source text is ultimately hammering home is that to establish a truly peaceful empire, the idealist eventually has to step way out of their comfort zone. They have to confront profound, violent evil head-on. Policy, strength, and action must be utilized, because simply ignoring a tyrant, that never makes a tyrant go away.
So, I'll leave you with this final, provocative question to think about from today's explainer. In the face of overwhelming opposition, will you wait for peace, or will you build a coalition to conquer the tyrant? Understanding the true cost of imperial dignity means recognizing exactly when to use policy, when to use strength, and when taking action is the absolute only moral choice left. Thank you so much for joining me to decode this incredible strategy today. I really encourage you to ponder how these ancient leadership dynamics map onto the strategic decisions happening in our world right now. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.